Hey there, you found us. I'm BJ Krintzman, and this is You're Doing Good. And this is a show that's dedicated to organizations that are doing good and people who are doing good. And tonight we have the exemplars of that on the show. Tonight we're going to talk about the Bellforge Arts Center. I heard about it about a couple of years ago, I guess. But you may be hearing about it for the first time. This is a fabulous place that is actually in Medfield, and we're going to even tell you where Medfield is, Newton, so stay tuned. But as always, we have the experts with us, and we have the executive director. I want you to join me in welcoming Jean Mineo.
Thank you.
Hi, Jean. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And we also have David Scott Sloan, and David Scott Sloan is on the board of directors.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Jean, we'll begin with you a little bit. Tell us a little bit. This is an arts center. It's more than that. You'll hear about that. But first, I want you to understand who our guests are. So, Jean, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with Bellforge Arts Center.
Yeah, I actually got my start here in Newton. Back in 1994, I used to be the executive director of the New Art Center in Newton. And I did that for about 10 years.
Where was the New Art Center?
It's in Newton. Newtonville on Washington Park. Still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
And that's really painting and, visual
a lot of
arts.
ceramics. Yep.
Yep.
And my background is in visual arts and public art too. So, and then also ran Boston Sculptors Gallery, JP Open Studios. I was a public art consultant for the city of Boston for a number of years, and then landed in Medfield when my daughter was born, and had joined the Medfield Cultural Council for a couple of years, and then you have to step off after 6 years. But what I was seeing was some silos in town, and I had hoped that the Cultural Council would want to step into doing some more collaborative programming, but they didn't. They just really wanted to re-grant the money. So we formed the nonprofit. At the time, it was called the Cultural Alliance of Medfield, and we did a number of temporary public art projects in collaboration with all kinds of different groups in town. And then out of that, with the State Hospital project, and we were finally able to secure a long-term lease, Bellforge was born.
Right. Well, we'll get to what the State Hospital project means in a minute, because Bellforge Arts Center, actually, the building that's there now was originally the Medfield State Hospital. Right?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, so we can get into that. But first we'll talk to David, and in the interest of full disclosure, David and I know each other. We were both on the board of Boston Conservatory for about 106 years, I'm going to say.
Correct.
Give or take.
You were there a little longer.
Right. And then we were both on the board of Berklee College of Music after the merger. Of which David was extremely instrumental in helping that merger happen. I was on the board too, so I was involved in a lot of that. Tell us how you got involved in Bellforge Arts Center. Because David's an attorney.
Yes, my daytime job is as an attorney, and I'm still practicing. I'm with Holland & Knight in Boston. But I've always been passionate about the arts, as you know, from when we were together at the Boston Conservatory and then at Berklee, and I'm still on the Berklee board. Unlike Jane, I have no arts chops whatsoever. However, I've just always loved the arts. I've appreciated the arts, and wanting to do whatever I can to make them accessible, or to do any little thing to bring more people to the arts. Good times, bad times, horrible times. The arts is always the answer. And I heard about the project, and I was fascinated by it. And this has really been Jean's dream, as I have heard it over and over again, and what she has done in such, probably to her seems like eternity, but to me seems like a short period of time, has just been remarkable.
And when you say you're interested in the arts, is that the performing arts that mostly captures your interest, or visual, paintings, wall art? What kind of?
I like all of them, but I'm drawn to performing arts. That's what brought me to the Boston Conservatory, is the music, dance, theater, anything live. I've always been a fan of it since I was just a young child. And the visual arts I appreciate more and more. Even when I go to some galleries and I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at, I just love being there.
Right, and I can attest to his love of the performing arts because I was at his house, fundraiser for Bellforge Arts Center a couple of years ago, I think, and he actually had a trapeze art, a high-flying something. She was up in the air in his cathedral ceiling of his family room, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We like to keep it interesting.
I know. Only party I've been to that had a high wire act.
An aerialist.
An aerialist.
But you won't forget it, right?
No, I wouldn't, and it was a great night. Anyway, thanks again to both of you for coming on. So now let's really get into the meat of this, which is the Bellforge Arts Center. So what we know so far is that it's on the site of, there's a main building there, and that was the Medfield State Hospital. And that's not open yet. Tell us what's going on now.
The hospital was actually 35 separate buildings, and it was built in what's called this cottage style, which was a very different way to think about housing people with mental illness. Instead of, one big building where a patient would never have to leave, they were trying to create a more home-like setting for those patients. So the patients and the staff lived on the second and the third floors of the buildings. The first floors were workshops and rooms where they were actually making things. They used to farm 200 acres around this campus too in its heyday. So Bellforge has two buildings that are right in the middle. One of them was originally the chapel for the campus. That will become a 300-seat performance venue, but fully flexible seating. So however artists choose to engage with the audience, we'd like to be able to accommodate that. And then right next to it is a building that will be 16 classrooms, and we'll physically connect those two buildings with a new addition. And that way we're able to support, where a student's just starting to learn an instrument or voice or drama or dance or movement, to where a performer's starting to launch a career, and we'll be able to provide all of the support, the education, the training, and quite frankly, the community that it takes to nurture that creative talent. And we can do all of that at Bellforge.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
What happened to the Medfield State Hospital? I mean, why did it go out of business, or what happened there? Because we still have loonies. You know this. We have wackos, Exhibit A.
Yeah. Well, all I know is that when it closed in 2003, so it's been empty for 22 years now, there was only about 200 people living there at the time. In its heyday, it was over 2,000 people living there. So it was clearly a phased kind of shutdown that was happening. And then it sat empty for a very long time. It's still empty today, but the town was finally able to buy that property from the state in 2014. So the town of Medfield now owns that 87-acre campus and all of the buildings, plus we bought another 40 acres across the street. And then they launched into a 4.5-year master planning process. And I was part of that process to ask the question, could there be a home for the arts here? And there was two things that came out of that planning process. And one was, if you could only save one building, save that chapel. And people were very concerned about wanting to maintain public access to this property because they'd had it so long. There are hundreds of dog walkers there every day, and they come from all over the state. So the arts are your invitation to keep coming back for another event. And the chapel, besides being a chapel, was also used as a gymnasium. There were dances there on Friday nights for people in the community to come. So it's always had this public purpose. Right. And I think that made it easier for us to secure the long-term lease from the town because we were satisfying both of those requirements.
And is this a long-term lease at extremely favorable rates, or are you paying top dollar?
No, it's $99 a year.
Okay.
But we are responsible for raising all the funds to renovate the two buildings, the grounds, and a small parking lot behind it.
Okay, and we're going to get into that. David, when did you get involved with, when in this process? Because it sounds like you were in on this early.
Oh yeah, it's been...
it was Jean with a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then it grew, and I think, I want to say I might have been board member.
Did she recruit you? Or did you know each other? Or?
We knew of each other.
Yeah, I think so.
But Jess, I think Jess the Mole recruited me, and I had known Jess, and they had known a lot of the work that I'd done with Berkeley, and that I'd been a fan of the arts. I was probably board member number 9, maybe?
Early. Yeah.
8 or 9,
Early.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I was truly fascinated by it because if you go to the campus, you have to go to the campus. You just have to see it. You feel like you're on a small New England college campus
Yep.
with 35 brick buildings, and it abuts the Charles River, and you can see where they used to have farmland, and it's beautiful. And the chapel, even though we're getting close, but we don't have electricity yet, but we've had some performances in there, some beautiful a cappella, and the acoustics are phenomenal.
Wow. Wow. And so all the buildings are staying? These
Yes.
little cottages are staying, and you're going to use those as artist studios, or what?
I wish. So the town sold all of the property around us, or will sell all the property around us. Out of the master planning process, they issued an RFP. And the hope was that there would be a developer that would want to do it as a historic preservation. And they did get one proposal for that, and wholeheartedly embraced that. So the developers, Trinity Financial, they've been an amazing partner to Bellforge. They are going to renovate 27 buildings around us for 334 housing units, everything from small studios to 3-bedroom units. So we are, in some ways, the amenity for those future residents coming.
Well, this is fabulous. This
Yeah.
is a huge development and so multifaceted.
But they're working within the footprints of these historic buildings.
Right.
So all the open space stays, the beautiful mature trees come in the fall. It's spectacular.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
And it's It's on the historic register,
Yeah.
so they're able to do it and preserve these buildings, which is great because as Medfield residents, we lived through 3 or 4 other proposals,
Right.
which started with clear cut this acreage and fill in the blank, put in a golf course, put in 6 houses, whatever
right,
it was.
right,
So
right,
they're
right.
preserving it, and it's just,
Right.
it's such a beautiful place when you
Yes.
walk on the campus.
How far is it from Newton? Is it like a half hour, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it took me half an hour to get here.
Half hour,
And,
yeah.
and traffic,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I thought. And where did the name Bellforge come from? What's
So,
the
you
history
you
of that?
got to make up a name, right? If you want a URL for your website and social media and all the rest of it. So we started with what's iconic about that building. It's the bell tower, and the original bell is still in that tower. So we started with the bell, and Forge is forging community relationships. Forge is also an art term. So Bellforge was born.
Oh, so it wasn't, like Maury Bellforge gave you some money. You made it. That's a wonderful
Not yet,
history.
but we're open to it.
Yeah, I'll call Murray and see if he wants.
If he's out there, yes, we're
Right.
welcome to put a little plaque for him.
What a nice story. I'm glad I asked that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, now the other thing is that I before the show, I was poking around your website, and I was going to ask you what the mission is of the Bellforge Arts Center. And what I found on your website, which I love, so I want to quote it and read it to you, Newton, is rooted in nature and a legacy of healing. Bellforge nurtures community, creativity, and self-expression through the arts.
Yep.
And what you also glean from the website is that the history was that this was a mental hospital, a healing center, and using the arts as healing.
They had an orchestra when it was a state hospital, too. So there is a legacy there, to your point. And we're also part of this new wave of thinking about art and healing. There's a program that's been rolled out across the state called the Art Pharmacy, and we're part of that program. As there's more information in neuroscience about how art physically changes you, doctors are now able to prescribe arts experiences as part of a healthcare plan, and we're part of that program.
And that's what I haven't heard of Arts Pharmacy.
Yeah, yep.
And I know if I go to an art museum, a gallery, I feel different
Yes.
afterwards.
Yes, you do.
Something changed. At our board meetings for Boston Conservatory, they'd have some students perform or come in, and it just transports you for just a few minutes, right?
It does, and that's what has always drawn me to the arts.
Yeah.
In good times, hey, let's go to a show. In times when you want to get away from the noise
Yeah.
or social media, let's go to a show.
Yeah.
Let's just do something where we can experience it and feel different.
Right.
And the fact that this was a Medfield State Hospital, and it was really, at the time, cutting edge on health and wellness, like building communities instead of what used to be asylums, where you had like one monolithic building and they
Right.
just housed people. This was trying to encourage them to be part of a community. and to build communities.
Right.
And so it's the right place for the Bellforge.
Right. And I wonder if, particularly as lawyers, you need an antidote. You know, where everything is so focused and it's so intense and it's so nerve-wracking and anxiety-producing. You can't make a mistake as a lawyer, ever. There's someone shooting for you on the other side, you know. That it's particularly nice to have the arts as a refuge. It's a way to go somewhere else in your head.
And we've found that, you know, there aren't many places like this in Metro West. And you'll see it if you come to the building. It's just spectacular.
So what's the time frame for the building, for the developer, for the houses?
Yep.
I know you've got a capital campaign going now.
We do.
And this is to try to renovate the chapel, get electricity in there.
Yep.
Right.
Running water would be nice.
Which I recommend, by the way, in case you're on the fence about it. I would say go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're about 71% of the way to the goal of being able to start construction. So we're at 71%. When we hit about 75%, we'll be able to start. So we currently have $1 million match. So any new donations coming in will be matched dollar for dollar up to that $1 million. When we hit that goal and receive that match, we'll essentially have hit the target to start construction. So we're hoping optimistically we could start by the summer. Our construction will be about 16 months. The developer is not going to take ownership of the land around us until fall of next year. So they're a little bit behind us, but we're working in partnership on so many things. For example, they're bringing in all the infrastructure for us in time for us to open.
Yeah.
So they included all of our loads within the designs. It's just, you know, signage is going to align. We're going to use all the same light fixtures. They've been amazing partners to work with.
That's great. It's good to hear because
Yeah.
developers don't always have the
Doesn't always
best
work out that way.
reputations, right?
No, Trinity is fantastic.
So tell us what you have some programs going on now, even though the building isn't
Yes.
available. And then, so I want to know what the programs are now and what the intention is to have the programs once you have the building.
Yeah. So because we're outside only, we're in the warmer months. So our season this year actually kicks off on Saturday. And it's a children's event. It's called Enchanted Spring. There'll be a magician and face painting. There'll be a treasure hunt, those kinds of things. We always have a food truck. We have live music several times a year. We have theater productions. We're introducing movies this year as something different to just kind of mix it up a little bit.
Movies outside.
Outside.
People sitting on blankets.
Yeah. Yep.
No, there's a nice natural open area where we've had kind of a natural stage.
Yeah.
And we've had Livingston Taylor play there. We've had Marty Sexton.
Right.
We had our fellow Buffalo Tom, our fellow Berkeley trustee, Grace Kelly, played there, and then also did a set inside the chapel. It was daylight, so we got some natural light in there.
Yeah, fabulous.
And she's a phenomenal saxophonist.
Amazing.
And
So is the intention to have just performing arts, or you're also going to have visual arts, once you get completely up and running?
So phase one is the performing arts. That's the two buildings that we currently have the lease on. Phase two will be visual arts and culinary arts. So again, where the patients used to farm so much land, there's still two agricultural fields that flank the campus on the east and the west. We'd like to bring one back for food production, which doesn't exist, have shared commercial kitchens. There's a farmer's market in town that will relocate to Bellforge when we do open, have classrooms for cooking, nutrition, business development, and then a cafe or restaurant. So again, it's this whole farm-to-table ability to support the culinary arts. And since there isn't a restaurant around there, it feels important to have that too, to support people who are coming for performances. And then for visual arts, it's studio spaces for artists. It's classroom spaces for anybody to engage in a creative activity. We've surveyed the kids in the high schools. They all want shared equipment like woodworking shops and ceramics and printmaking. Their fiber arts is very big among that demographic right now.
Yeah.
Then it's having a gallery space. So it's another place for community to gather around the arts.
Yeah, this is fabulous.
Yeah.
We're talking to Jean Mineo, who is the executive director, and David Scott Sloan, who is on the board of directors of the Bellforge Arts Center, and it's in Medfield, Massachusetts. And we now know where Medfield is. we know a little bit about Bellforge Arts Center, and they're really trying. And there's a big capital campaign
Right.
going on now. So how do you? You've already had some music there, and how do you select what kind of music, and what are you geared towards? In other words, there's a difference between having, Debbie, what's her name? Debbie, who does the a puppet show, and Nine Inch Nails, let's say. So hard rock. So how do you decide what's your goal here? What's your target?
Well, right now we're experimenting. So we're doing a wide variety of different kinds of genres, even spoken word. We also have a Pride Festival. We have a Juneteenth Festival. We have a lot of different BIPOC artists, so we're trying to bring more diversity into our community as well. And again, we do some things for children-focused events, but not all of them, and
Right.
they're all, for the most part, they're all free. We have one or two that might be ticketed in the course of a year or course of a season.
That's fabulous. And you've gone to several of these.
I do. I've gone to several of the events, and they're very well done. And what's good about it is it's not a Medfield thing. It's not just Medfield. It's really Metro West. When you look between Boston and start traveling west, you might hit the Worcester Art Museum. Then you keep going and you hit the Berkshires, but there's a whole swath of really no arts out there. And so we're drawing people from all over. And one of the great stats is what we found is people that come to one thing come again and again, because it's just such a great environment of both creativity and relaxation. And I remember just walking our dog back there. It's just, everybody walks their dog back there.
Yeah, that's true. We've had, so in our first 3 seasons, we had, I think, 29,000 visitors, and that's in 20 to 25 events in a season. Again, it's April through October. It's not very long. And
29,000, that's a good number.
over the 3 years, 520 different zip codes in 25 different states. So, to see this proof of concept kind of really blossom, and the first season was like, is anybody going to come to this campus to see,
Right.
But the reality is people will travel for these cultural experiences, and it's been awesome.
And it sounds like an experience more than it doesn't sound like just going to hear a concert or going to hear a singer. It sounds like there's a whole experience about being there in this area, and that's unique. Tanglewood is sort of, I would say, does that.
Very much so, yes.
And concerts on the Esplanade, in a way, that does that. But as you said, then there's this great unmet area in the middle.
Right.
There is, and as you walk towards one of the edges of the campus, you're overlooking the Charles, and you see where some of the fields used to be, and it's just beautiful.
This is so nice. All right, so anyway, now, do people volunteer? Do you use volunteer? How many staff have you got?
3 of us are full-time, 3 of us are part-time.
And do you just work from your homes right now? You don't have a building?
We do have an office.
Oh,
it's not on the campus. Again, there's no utilities. So we have a separate office where we can gather and meet people and get together as a team and strategize. And
Okay. And so what do you use volunteers for, and how do you volunteer?
Yep. So volunteering is available through the website. We always have, for our events, you can sign up for like an hour or 2 for a shift. There's always setup, there's cleanup. I mean, right now everything is in shipping containers because we moved to a bigger lawn, quite frankly, because of the construction that's coming. So it's always set up, there's always cleanup, and then greeting people during events. But
Greeters, ushers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Helping people.
Sure.
Where do people park? On the grass there?
Oh, there's tons of parking.
Tons of
We
yeah.
have a lot of parking
On the campus.
on the campus
on
itself.
pavement, or is it they park on the grass?
There's both, actually.
Both. I mean, we prefer on the pavement and the crushed stone, but there's a lot of parking right around there.
And the thing that we didn't, I was neglectful in not mentioning, that you're 95% free, the performances. Is this correct?
That's correct.
Like you can just sign up and say, I'm coming.
Yep.
And tell me your thinking behind that. Of not, or at some point you're going to charge, or is that just?
I think when we open and we have to maintain a building,
Right.
you'll see more ticketed events. But for now, it's all about building audience and awareness and bringing people to the campus, learning where we are and what we're about.
Right.
And as a board member, we do want to keep a good portion of it free because it's really access. We want everyone to be able to experience and access the arts and not have finances get in the way of doing that.
Right. And, I'm going to mention it. We didn't talk about this, but I know David. I've known him for many years. And this is a kid who started out with a Pell Grant to get him through undergraduate school, became a lawyer, and is now does wealth management. So he's an incredible success story, and particularly of what government funding, is everyone listening to me? What government funding can do. And how it can change lives and make success stories.
I feel very fortunate. And,
right. And I love that you're giving, what you're trying to do is give back. And you're saying it did so much for me, I want to give back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry if I could build on that. I was just going to say we're also part of the Card to Culture program that is run by the Mass Cultural Council, so that anybody that has, what's it called?
Card to Culture?
Card to Culture. When we have ticketed events, it would be steeply discounted for people who use like food stamps, things like that.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And then we also give meal vouchers, because we always have food trucks. We give meal vouchers to the local food pantry so that their clients can also come and not feel like they have any issues.
Food trucks are very in, I mean, don't do away with
so
those.
hard to
Even
get.
if you have a building, they're so in. People have weddings with food trucks.
Yeah.
So we're getting near the end here, but I want to find out, how can people donate to such a wonderful organization?
Yeah.
We're going to be streaming during this show the website.
Okay.
Your www.
Yep. Bellforge.org.
Bellforge.org. But how do people give? Is that the best way to give?
Yeah, there's lots of ways to give through the website, or reach out, and we're happy to. If you want to come see it, we'll love to give tours and show people the facility itself.
Great. Any any fundraisers that you're doing?
Can I show you this one?
We
now?
come bearing gifts. So.
This is for you.
Oh, thank you.
And it's also available to anybody that gives a $50 donation and above. And it's this is the bell tower and the chapel. So thank you for having us.
Well, you're welcome. This is a Bellforge tote bag.
You got it.
Thank you. And by the way, I am going to donate. I want to do. The self-styled. I'm self-styled as a philanthropy influencer. So I've got to put my money where my mouth is. So thank you. That's very colorful. I like it. Yeah. That's very sweet. I like the way you've designed it. Thank you so much. Well, okay. So anyway, and do you have a QR code? Or because you should get one for if you don't have one.
Well, if you're at the events, we have QR codes.
QR codes, okay. But I was thinking, if you have one, we could maybe plug that in on this show so that people could do that. Sure. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck with the building.
Come out and see it.
With all you're doing. I'm going to come out and see it. You've really piqued my interest. It's fabulous. David, thank you to you for coming on the show and also for all you do. You do so much in your philanthropy. It's just fabulous to have you here. Okay?
I appreciate it.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank
it's
you.
Wonderful. And we will see you next time on You're Doing Good, because you know what? These guys are doing good.
Thank you.
Thank you.